It came across my timeline this week that Julius Randle had effectively shut down Victor Wembanyama, and knowing how many takes get put on the timeline that are mostly condensed to highlights, I wanted to go check for myself if this is actually what happened or if it was just a couple of plays. And to Julius Randle's credit, I would say despite the Anthony Edwards game winner, he kinda won them the game. So here's what happened. Victor Wembanyama presents a unique challenge for Rudy Gobert, who is having a Defensive Player of the Year level season, but Vic is one of the few fives who are A, able to match Rudy in size, and B, able to move around the court with the fluidity of a guard/forward. And this kind of sets it up where Rudy is defending in the worst position he can really be in. When you watch what gets him his Defensive Player of the Years, it's the stops near the rim, the timing there, the contests, deterring shots. He does all that really well. The thing that doesn't work out as great for him is having to move his feet outside of the paint, having to stay with quicker or shiftier players. And this is ultimately what was Utah's downfall when they didn't have that many perimeter defenders to keep him out of those type of matchups or situations. So for a lot of this game, Vic really wanted to prove a point. Even the shots he didn't make, he was less concerned with that and more just showing one day he should be the deep boy. He said as much himself about a year or two ago. And it was pretty clear he wanted to light Rudy up, and for the most part he did so. And he did it for the reasons we just described. Rudy out of the paint is a different defender than inside it. And then the fourth quarter hit. The very first time Randle got to draw this assignment, he showed Vic a level of physicality I promise you he had not seen the entire game. Nonetheless, the Wolves have got this to 10. And now it's Randle. Okay, here we go. So this is where they say Wemby was basically doing whatever he wanted to Rudy. And now Randle immediately makes him drop the ball. Pressuring, he's making sure not to stick his hands out and get a foul. And he got the crowd into it. Randle not having a good offensive night. This is not a good matchup for him tonight with the way the Spurs are defending, the lack of space. But he gets in. Nas has been the best big so far. And so once he was able to force a stop, he energized himself, who wasn't having a great offensive game outside of getting to the line. He energized his team and the crowd, who had been pretty much dead as San Antonio was predictably in control of this game. But it wasn't just on ball, it was the little things when Vic was trying to get positioning. Just where we've done our work tonight, we just want to go ahead and get this over with. And look at Randle fighting. The Wolves continue to fight. Now Randle is not even gonna let him catch this. Bump, denial. So they could not get to Wemby this play. It's little tiny stuff like this that Randle did, right? Look, hands on chest. Don't do it again. Push. But Randle just letting him know, you gotta feel me. And you don't get that with Rudy. And Randle's approach was interesting because this is kind of what made Wemby begin to struggle after he was dominating the first few weeks of the league. Not only did you see doubles and triples, but guys were trying to get away with everything the refs would allow them to. Anytime they could push him, grab him, get under him, typically the refs were giving a little more leeway. Not even saying Randle was fouling, he was just using all the physicality he thought he could. So as a much shorter player, not only was Wemby off rhythm, but you saw in this game, he wasn't able to just go make an and-one mixtape. All the comfortable dribbling around, trying to lull the defender to sleep. Much harder when the guy won't even let you walk to your spot without giving you an elbow. So whereas Wemby made 8 shots in the first 3 quarters, he went on to miss all 4 that he took in the fourth, including this beautifully defended pull-up at the end in the clutch. All right, so we were talking about the little stuff, right? Look at this already. Randle, feel me, son. hands, arms, pushing up into your chest. If you want this bucket, you are going to have to fight me. And you see they're trying to get Wemby to his spot. They probably hoped for a switch there. Randle, defense, no foul. Oh my goodness, man. And then off the 50-50, they had a chance to win. Bro, Julius did his big one there, bro. So long story short, this is why you actually watch games, because if you just looked at the box score and you saw Randle went 4 of 11 and 0 of 3 from 3, you'd say it was a stinker, whereas you watch, and honestly, aside from Nas Reed, he was the most impactful player in the comeback. As I said, this energized him. He was also able to take advantage of a good bit of these Spurs lineups where he had a smaller guy on him down low. He was able to either draw fouls or grab rebounds. And before you knew it, the Wolves were narrowly escaping with a victory where they honestly should have probably lost by 20 or 25. I just watched this whole game. I don't know if that's what I'm going to post. Julius just did his fucking big one in this one. He was not doing the bully ball thing. The Spurs defense was set up in a way that just wasn't really happening tonight. But they were also set up in a way where they didn't have enough bigs sometimes. So Randle was able to get the rebound. Sometimes he just used an angle and got a foul. But most importantly, He made Victor Wembanyama feel somebody for the first time the entire night, starting in the fourth. So if you're Chris Finch, you end up with San Antonio in the playoffs. I don't think the Wolves would beat them. Again, Spurs had to fuck up a lot to lose this game. But you do know, hey, we don't just have to watch Wemby pull our rim protector out of the paint and go 1v1 with him. We don't have to watch that. Now, I'm sure over the course of a series, Wembanyama would be able to make adjustments. The Spurs would make adjustments. So even though I'm sure if Finch, who did not coach this game, now has this in his back pocket for if the Wolves see the Spurs down the line, this is one of the things Wemby is going to be prepared for. Throughout the duration of his career so far, guys who are stronger than him and more physical are able to make him struggle. He can't just back everyone down. He can't just walk through everybody. Aside from loading up on him, doubling, whatever, teams have to make sure Wembanyama feels them. It cannot be as easy as just conceding the switch on an off-ball screen and letting him get the smaller defender. Shout out to Julius Randle and the Wolves, and Anthony Edwards, who was able to manufacture something out of nothing here at the end. Randle's looking for his options. Now he's just going to try to go 1v1 with Wemby, handoff. That was great defense because a lot of the times that could get Edwards a 3. And this is where Ant said he didn't know what to do. He was confused. He was just going to try to figure something out, and he found his angle. You're fine with this switch if you're San Antonio. Wemby takes up so much space, but Ant is just that damn good. Right there. That one right there got him the step. Being able to get to the opposite side with no defender. Yeah. And then that's Cornet on the other side. I can get a floater over him.